So let's hope. I've restarted the recording. Okay, it's not freaking out this time. Hooray! So hopefully Kushla will be here in a second. And we can go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and just turn the music on to get things going so that we can get... It's not showing up? Kushla says it's not showing up. I wonder why. I don't know why it's not showing. I'm sorry, we keep having these issues. I'm going to pause the recording until I can get Kushla on here. Sorry, she's asking if I completely restarted a new one, which I had to.
The thing, like, obviously there's some kind of lag.
I'm just going to get my computer plugged back in so that it doesn't die, because that wouldn't be good. And let's get the headphones in so y'all can hear me clearly.
Yeah. So can you hear me without a lag?
What was that?
Okay, all right. Because I was like, can you hear me without a lag? Because I was like, just give me a second. I've got to go get something. And you kept talking, and I'm like, obviously she can't see that I'm not.
No, I thought you weren't there, but I was talking anyway.
Okay.
Mostly because no, it doesn't matter anyway. So today we're talking about personal power.
Yeah.
And it's a topic I feel like I'm an expert in, only because I spent so much time giving away my power for so long that it's like I've become an expert in this just because of that's what I did, which I don't recommend doing, but it is what I did.
Yeah.
I'm thankful to have gotten out of that crap, though. I tell you what. Why don't we introduce ourselves first? Go ahead, Kushla.
Okay, so I'm Kushla Chadwick, for those of you who've not met me before. I'm a marketing mindset coach. I'm also a health and wellness coach, so I'm multi-passionate. Predominantly, I help women who are female entrepreneurs and in the transformation field to be able to create a business where they are creating really high profits, because I want women who are good women to be free, financially free, emotionally free, to feel limitless, right? To feel.
Yes, exactly.
to feel and be amazing while they're in the work of helping other people to do the same thing. I think the healers, the helpers, we so often put ourselves last. And, I feel like it's part of my responsibility, part of my mission, to start helping them to put themselves first so that they can help even more people. So I want to break some cycles. That's the work that I do. And which I'm very passionate about.
Awesome. She's really good at it too, you guys. I am Maleah Colford. I'm an energy healer and mentor. I'm kind of excited about this topic today just because I'm realizing this is the direction that I'm going in, especially like helping other people stand in their personal power. And because I spent so much time like not standing in my power and just like freely giving it to everyone else except for myself. I'm just like, this is the direction that I'm going in, and I've been spending a lot of time working with people now, helping them to learn how to stand in their personal power more too. And so I'm excited that this is today's topic.
Cool.
So Kushla, what is your what would you say your definition of personal power is? Like, what is it? We should probably define it before we start talking about it.
Personal power.
For those that aren't sure.
Yeah, I actually haven't even thought of that question before. So I'm like, if a blankness comes across my face, that's what that's about. But when I think of power, at least, my first thought is that we're in a close relationship with our Creator, with God. I think ultimately, our truest power, our truest capacity to live our best life. And our most powerful life in terms, what is power? It's ability, it's strength, it's being grounded and solid. And so I just think, quite often it's got this negative connotation to it. For me, I see real power as being truly who you are, really being aware of your mission or missions, because I believe we have many missions throughout our life, and that as we go forward, owning them, that we allow ourselves to be co-creators with God, that He will strengthen us beyond any capacity we have on our own. So it sounds like personal power, it's our own, but it's with acknowledgement that, you know, whatever I have planned for myself, I can guarantee there's a better plan made by God. You know, and when we get it right, you know, fantastic. When we don't, it really doesn't matter. The point is that we're in there, we've said yes to ourselves, and really allowing all of ourselves to shine forth and to really step up to our mission, wherever that is, whatever that is, along the path. Yeah,
no, absolutely. I mean, for me, I just take, like, you know, owning yourself, you know, and owning all of your feelings and all of your reactions and all of your actions, you know, really, like, owning how you show up with other people, and just, like, you know, this is who I am, this is how I choose to be, and it's okay to be like this. You know, just to give a few examples of, like, what personal power is not. Like, if you are in a space of blaming, or if you're in a space that you are trying to, like, deflect everything, or, like, trying to, like, put up this facade that, like, this is who I am, but, like, it doesn't actually, like, you are totally out of alignment with who you are, you know, and you aren't living in integrity. Like, you know, it's like, you should never, ever, you know, I am perfect and I always do everything exactly right, I'm a wonderful mother. Like, you can't, like, get up, if you can't get up and be like, you know, I do this and I'm really good at this, and then turn around and, you know, start yelling at your kids. Like, you know, it's like, if you're like, I am perfect and, you know, I've learned how not to yell, and I'm, you know, all of these things, and then you actually get home and all you're doing is yelling, you're giving away your personal power, because you're you're lying. And so, you know,
well, I think that's a matter of integrity, isn't it? I think anyone who's in their personal power is in integrity, but I think it's important to acknowledge that we can go in and out of integrity many times in a day.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And it might not be something big like yelling at children. It could be something small like eating the food that everyone else is eating in that moment, when what we desire is to really feel healthy and thrive. We'll put the cream bun donut in our mouth.
Right.
You know, when really
you're giving your personal power away to
don't
food,
want to, but it's like everyone else is eating it right now, and so I mean, like, and
it's here and it tastes good, so I might as well.
And so and I mean, so as someone with a background in natural health and energy psychology, I find it really interesting, the interplay between all our little decisions and how we will justify them, when the reality is, we know we really don't want, there's a big part of us, our spirit, like, it really doesn't want us to be making that decision, but it will justify it in the moment. So I think we're out of integrity many times. The more, and I think that's okay, right? Because this is the journey. And I think that if we punish ourselves too much for those little things, then this is going to create even more toxicity in our life and really get us even more out of power, because we want to be loved. But I think we need to acknowledge that that's happening, and be holding the vision of who we want to be very much in our sight, and be working towards always coming more and more integrity with who it is we truly desire to be, you know. So
and we don't want to, like you said, like, shame, like, you don't want to go into a space of shame. If you get out of integrity, or if you get out of power, if you start giving your power away, it's okay. Just reclaim it. Like, don't go into a space of shame, because that's giving more power away. And so, like, and we don't want to do that. Like, don't just keep giving it away. You know, you really do just call it back, and recognize that, hey, do you know what? I went out of my power there. I gave it away. I went out of integrity. And you know what? I recognize it. And at least when you recognize it and then, like, take it back, it's fine then. Like it's okay. We are
Yeah.
all on a journey. We're like none of us are perfect.
That's right.
So,
Yeah, and I just find it funny that anyone would even think that they are, you know what I mean?
oh, I know.
But I mean, I don't hear that. It's not something that I hear other people saying. So, yeah. Oh, sorry, I've opened it on my phone. You can still hear that, can't you, Dave Nugget?
We can hear it.
There we go. It's on mute. I just wanted to let more people know about it for a sec. Hang on.
Yeah, no, I agree. I can go ahead and throw it onto Facebook again too. Just say, hey, we had a mess up.
I was hoping that I could let my followers know for some reason, but it's not letting me do it this time. Punk rockers.
Just letting everybody know. Here's the real link.
Yeah. So what happened, Maleah? If you just kind of maybe just coming on now, Maleah got kicked off the original one pretty much as soon as she went on.
It was really strange. So we got to start a new one.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to close that back down because it's not allowing me to do what I wanted. Yeah. So I think that's the topic, right? Is how do we be in integrity with ourselves?
Exactly.
Go
ahead, what?
And for me, it's also how do we have ourselves be in integrity with God? You know, so when I say ourselves, you know, that's like there's that thing between, you know, our spirit and our body. So there's a little I am in each of us, which is always craving to be able to, I think, ascend in some way, you know, to grow, to rise up to the next version of ourselves.
Yes, absolutely.
Or in layman words, just to improve a little bit, right?
Yeah. Yes. But we all want to improve like that. And I think that's the point. Like, you know, even people who like aren't aware that they want to improve, they do want to improve. We all do, even if we don't know how to do it. And so let's talk about how we can improve. Like what are some ways that you like, or some things that you like to do to keep yourself in your personal power and to keep yourself in integrity with what your actual missions are in life?
Oh, okay. I think
those are the hard questions.
Yeah. So, firstly, what do I do to achieve that? Is like this time I'm going to summarize it, right?
Right.
It's every day is the opportunity. So I think if you approach it as like this is just the tasks that you have each day. So have a look at how you spend your time. You know, for me, it's important that I start my day off well. So having said that, today was one of those days where I just like, I just need to sleep a little bit longer, you know. And so I was like, I didn't go for my morning walk like I normally would, but I was like, that's okay, I'm going to dance, right? But normally my day would be like, okay, there's movement, there's inspiration, there's hydration, and there's inspiration. So hang on, did I say that right? Oh, gratitude, inspiration, movement, and hydration. They're like my 4 morning things that all get achieved first thing in the morning. So that starts your day off in the right direction. And, you know, and I mentioned the hydration because, you know, we want to be able to have everything flowing properly in our bodies. So that's really important. Plus, you know, our brains. We want to be able to think. Our guts.
Our brains need water.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I drink like a quart of water almost immediately upon waking.
That's beautiful.
With some lemon. I always add lemon to it and a little bit of apple cider vinegar. Just because those are really good. Well, those are just really, really good things to get your body working properly. And so I always make sure I include them. Exactly.
Yeah.
I always include those every day.
And probiotics and like with that. Yeah. So vinegar. Cool. So that's one of the things that I do. And, you know, that's just a habit, just to wake up and do that. And then another thing that I would do is I would have a look at, you know, what is it that I'm most trying to accomplish right now? And normally I would do that on a weekly basis. I know what my focus is going to be for the week. I know, you know, particularly with my work, because my work's very important for me. And also I've just set up my life so that things are the way that I want them to be. You know, I think it means bringing intention, like, to the conversation, because quite often we live our life just by, what's the word? Like by default, right? We just kind of
absolutely.
by default
go.
Everyone else watches TV all day, all night. We'll do that. Everyone else watches, you know, does this. Everyone else eats that. Everyone else, children goes to school and like whatever. Everything is by default. And so, you know, for me, there was a time many years ago I just thought, well, what is it that I really want? You know, because I was someone who lived by default. I was like, you know, everyone else eats McDonald's. Not that I still don't. Like, I mean, I still do occasionally take my children and stuff to it. But I think you've got to bring some intention to how you want your life to look. So, and then your job or your work is every week and every day to remind yourself. Right? To remind yourself of what is it that, you know, is on focus for me. So one of the things I set at the beginning of each year, or not the beginning of each year, but I have like 3 visions: a 5-year vision, a 3-year vision, and a 1-year vision. So if at any time I'm checking into how I'm spending my time and it's not in alignment with that vision, it's out of integrity for me. You know? Yeah. So that's something which is always like my like guide as to, you know, so there's many things that we could do that are good. And so I think we've got to understand sometimes it's not the choice of something that's really bad. Sometimes something's good, but sometimes there's something way, way better for us. So
no, I know that for me, like I used to really have no major rituals that I would do every day. I was incredibly depressed for a while. And my husband was working and in school and student teaching, and I was super pregnant, and like all of this was going on, and I was just like, I would literally sit on the couch all day long and do nothing. And even more than that, like I didn't feel like I could, like it's like I was in a space that I had given everything that I had to everybody else, and I had nothing left for me, and I was not doing any of the things that were important to me. And and that's what happens. Like when you just keep giving away your power like that, you get into a space that you have none left, and you just feel completely broken all the time. And
I want to change things up a bit there, though.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, sometimes we, like you say, we give our power and we have nothing left. I think the reality is we feel like we have nothing left. We always have access to, There's something that flows through us, and we've always got access to it. But we put ourselves out of a place where we can even feel it or access it.
And that's kind of where I was going with my story, actually, because, you know, that's where I was. It was a really, really sad and dark place for me. You know, and what's really funny is, like, I am such a happy and outgoing and, like, love to connect with everyone person that being in this space for me was a really, really hard place for me to be. And I felt like I had given everything to everyone else, and I really had nothing left. And but then a bunch of things changed for me, and I started taking back my power and recognizing that I have access to everything that I need all the time. Even when I feel like I don't, I do. If I'm feeling like I don't, then that means that I need to spend some time and reconnect with myself and figure out where I'm not aligned, so that I can get back into that space. Now, one thing that I was really, really super guilty of then was giving, it's like I really blamed my husband for like everything. He's never home. He's always at work. He will never let me do what I want to do. Like I really had all these huge, huge issues, and they were like, I blamed him for everything. And that was not fair. Like at all, it was not fair. and it wasn't true.
Yeah.
No, it was, in the end, it really was my choice.
Yeah.
You know, did he give me some resistance on some things? Yeah. You know, yes, he did.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that he was like he was not the reason that I was being blocked. I was the reason that I was being blocked. And so, go ahead. What?
It's always a matter of self-permission. Always.
It is. It always is.
Regardless of what anyone else says or does, you know, I mean, and can take it to the extreme. Look at situations where people are in prison, right? Maybe they've made bad decisions, or maybe they've even gone in there when they didn't do the crime, right? And it seems like a lot of their freedoms are taken away. But there is always, even within extreme circumstances, there's always an ability for us to choose, even if that choice is just what we think or feel. There's always the ability there, because that's how we're made to be. We're made to be ever increasing people who are capable of choice. We are endowed with agency. We're endowed with the ability to choose one way or the other. How we're going to direct our lives through how we think or feel predominantly, and the use of our time.
And it's like Viktor Frankl or Connie ten Boom or Corrie ten Boom. You know, I mean, both of them were in concentration camps. You know, most of their families died. Families and friends died. You know, they literally lost everything. You know, Corrie watched her sister die. You know, and they lost literally everything, and yet they still. No, it's like Corrie was like, we were thankful for the fleas, because it kept all of the soldiers out of their barracks, and so they had some freedom within their barracks, and so they were thankful for the fleas. What kind of amazing power must you have over your brain to be thankful for the fleas? I love all of her books. They're amazing. So Viktor Frankl's stuff is amazing too. But when it really gets down to it, it really is up to us. You know, I had somebody actually message me this last week saying, you know, how she was concerned that, you know, people, you know, it's like people, like how can people's problems be from limiting beliefs? How can it really be that? Because people get raped, people get molested, people have you know their children killed in front of them. You know, these are real traumatic things. Like, these things happen. They actually happen, and if that's not a belief, you're right. It's not. And I don't know if she's watching or if she'll see this, but we haven't had a chance to sit down and watch it yet tonight, or sit down and not watch it. Sit down and talk together. We've tried a couple of times, but like the message that I want to share with her is that you're right. Some crappy things happen in this world. There are truly traumatic events that happen. However, your job is not to like fix what happened. Like, yes, it happened, and like, okay, it happened. It sucks, and that's okay that it sucks. But how you choose to act going forward, how you choose to act going forward is, and how you choose to feel, that's what matters. That's where the belief is. You know, you can go in there. It's like you can have a horrible, terrible thing happen to you. I was at an event last week called Limitless, and there was a woman who got up there, and she felt that she had no power to change her body, and as we were doing, as the leader was doing some a process with her, the things that came out were just heartbreaking. Oh, her family ridiculed her and abused her, and she spent her entire childhood just being torn to pieces. And when she was up there, she was literally wearing an oxygen pack on her backpack with oxygen on her nose, because she couldn't breathe. Like she wasn't like, it wasn't just a little bit of power to change her body. She was ill, like really, really super sick ill. And what changed? Like that was the very first day. Limitless is a 3-day event. And what changed the next day? Like after going through this, after fixing all this and letting go of this belief, she chose a belief that was that like that she is meaningless or like is completely unwanted. Like I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was like a really, really sad and devastating belief that she had chosen about herself because of the things that happened and because of the actions of others. But she had chosen this belief, and she wasn't very old. She was probably in her 40s, but she looked a lot older, and she literally was just sick, on oxygen, could barely walk. And she's up there, and Chris took her through this process. Chris is the presenter. And he took her through this process. The next day, I was on the staff this time. And so we would like high five everybody as they were coming into the room and just get the energy going. And this woman walked in the next morning carrying her oxygen tank in, but not wearing it. And she was like, her complexion was pink. Her oxygen levels were awesome. Then later on that day after lunch, she didn't even bring her oxygen with her. We didn't see the oxygen tank or the oxygen on her for the rest of the time, because it made such a change. Like your beliefs matter. Like, and they matter in the way that your health, they matter in the way that you feel about yourself. They matter so much. And it was incredible to watch this woman. We actually had somebody ask if she was a plant, because the change in her was so dramatic. And it was beautiful to see it. Like, she wasn't a plant, I promise. But it was incredible to see her change. And it was a huge physical change. You know, this woman's life is forever changed because she changed what she believes about herself and took back the power that she had given to her parents and her father, who had been horribly abusive to her. That's how limiting beliefs hold you back. It's not about the trauma that happened.
I agree.
It's about the meaning that you attach to the trauma.
And there are a few thoughts that I had as you were saying that. So one of them is the whole concept that, you know, it's not limiting beliefs that bad things happen, right? Well, you know, initially our topic is about your personal power. So, you know, how do we get power? Do you think that in the absence of any challenges, our power will grow? It won't. You know, you think of how diamonds are made. You think about how a car moves forward, about traction and things. There's always got to be resistance. There's always got to be, or a plane flies, there's always got to be some kind of challenge in order for us to grow. That is when we actually are in the real environment that allows growth, that allows us to really own and step into our personal power. In the absence of it, we don't have it.
No, exactly. No, the cool thing is, like, without resistance, a plane can't fly.
Yeah.
Without resistance, a bird can't fly. They actually literally can't. If you know the physics of it, you have to have resistance or they can't fly. And so that's the point of this. Like, you get power by taking action in your life and by choosing what you believe about yourself. That's how you gain power. That's how you gain traction, or how you start flying.
And the other thing I wanted to mention too is, because you chose a word there a couple of times that I think if we had a broad range of listeners on here today, and you know, at the moment there's only 4 of us, including us too, because you know, we had problems at the beginning and issues. Yes. Right. But we had some challenges, right? I feel like I got to sneeze, but you chose the word. Yeah, thanks. You chose the word choose. Now, sometimes people might say, "Well, I don't choose to feel this way. You know, I don't choose for these things to happen. You know, I didn't choose when I was a child to give my power away when my parents." So I want to talk about that a little bit, because here's the thing: there are some ways in which we choose how we feel about things and our limiting beliefs. And so one of them is that things happen repetitively, whether it's things happening from other people's choices or things that we're doing, but there are some, like, things happen repetitively, and as they keep happening repetitively and subtly, right, we accept things, right? So your
Yeah.
choosing might just be acceptance of a situation. And
Mm-hmm.
as things happen repetitively again and again and again, so it might not be a huge thing, it can be a little thing, right? So for example, let's choose an abusive situation. A spouse might hit someone. That's like a really powerful traumatic experience, which
Right.
if we accept it, it goes into our subconscious, goes into our belief system that, you know, I don't feel XYZ, you know, I don't,
Yeah.
I'm not,
I don't feel good about myself.
yeah,
I'm
I'm
not
not
safe.
worthy, I'm not safe, or like any number of different beliefs can come up from that.
Mm-hmm.
Or it
Mm-hmm.
could be you're in a situation and your spouse just kind of like says little nasty things that every now and again, you're stupid, or
Mm-hmm.
like, you know, and again and again and again, we just keep accepting it. Well,
Mm-hmm.
then that becomes a belief that we've chosen. So
Yeah.
sometimes we choose by default,
Yeah.
by not actually saying, hey, you know, XYZ. Now, as a child, you might think, well,
Yeah.
I had no choice, right? And again, it's the same principle. Things come in, we either accept them or we resist. A child does not have the same reasoning capacity as an adult, not till they're about 7 or 8, science shows. So sometimes it's just things have been passed on to us and now they will come up. If we haven't dealt with them, life has a really amazing way of delivering feedback to us.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
So, hey, there's some stuff here you haven't dealt with that particularly is around this.
Mm-hmm.
And so we may not have chosen things at a younger age or at a different time, or we might have been not had our not been aware of the situation. But it really doesn't matter. The point is, what feedback are you getting now? Because that feedback that you're getting now, those feelings that you're getting now, are a really good indicator of something that has been allowed, you've accepted in some way, shape, or form to be a belief in your life. And it is changeable. And you're right, beliefs absolutely do change outcomes. And I'll give you a couple of examples. One example is, I mean, I've shared it several times before. I'm not sure if I've shared it here with you, but I had a woman come to me who she was bleeding and she was told she needed a hysterectomy by doctors. She did not want a hysterectomy. She wasn't sure if her and her husband still wanted more children. The medication wasn't working. We did some work together and it was all around her beliefs, really. And within 2 days, the bleeding had completely stopped. Within 24 hours, it had more than halved, right? Wow. And so this had been someone who'd been suffering with this for a long, long time. And it was beliefs that actually around her relation, around her husband, right? And around how she felt around him. So we dealt with those. Another instance, I went to see a woman, an elderly woman who she was ready, she was being told, had been told she needed to have surgery on her eyes. She was unable to blink, hadn't been able to blink in a year and a half. And yeah, she, like it would take her about an hour and a half before the pressure would be so much in her head that she could then force herself to blink. And she hadn't been able to cry in 6 months, right? And so 20 minutes together, she cried for the first time. And she was able to blink rapidly for the first time in over a year and a half. And all this pressure come out of it. Like, and it was amazing. And what was the first thing I did? I looked at her beliefs. I just looked at what was up for her in her life. So our current life is a really great way of looking at feedback. And I did the same thing with the woman who'd been bleeding. It's just like, okay, what's happening? And I noticed, well, her ex-husband, who she's meant to be remarrying, is living with her right now. So that's gonna bring some stuff up, right? So I asked questions around that. And, you know, and I investigated into that. And it was the thing which was creating her perceptions around it all were creating this, these, like the beliefs around it, right? Were creating the circumstance where her body wasn't able to cope with it. So we dealt with it, we addressed it, we looked them in the eye, and within 20 minutes she was able to blink again. You know,
that's amazing.
She was able to cry. So do your beliefs that you don't think about have an impact on you all the time?
Yeah, absolutely, all the time. No, and even like in the beliefs that we picked when we were 3, you know, like you don't need to feel badly that you picked those beliefs. Like you picked them because that's what was shown to you and you were 3 and you didn't know, like, you didn't know how to pick something else, and that's okay. So it, like, don't feel badly that happened. Like, you can still go back and heal those things, even when you know, like, even when they happened, 30 years ago. Like, it's okay. Like, you could still go back. Like, you can go back 100 years ago. Like, you can go back and heal these things because they are still in you and they are still showing up. And they'll be showing up differently than they were when you were 3, but they're still showing up. And so, a practice that I love to do, like, every single day is just to ask myself, like, I like to meditate every morning. And so I sit down and I meditate. And then at the end of my meditation, I usually will ask myself, what's the limiting belief that's holding me back the most right now? And I ask myself that question, and, like, something always comes up for me. If you're struggling to get something to come up, like, send me a message on Facebook, and I can sit down with you and I can help you figure out how to find some living beliefs for yourself if you want to work on that. Whenever comes up, I close myself and get grounded, and then I ask myself, what's the number one limiting belief coming up for me right now? And then whatever comes up, I look at it, I acknowledge it, and then I choose to make a belief instead. I choose to say, okay, this one's not serving me anymore. Thank you for doing everything you've done for me throughout my life. I let it go. And then I choose something else that is more empowering. So if it was something like, I'm not good enough, I can choose, I am enough, or I am more than enough, or I'm beautiful, I'm wonderful, I'm amazing. Like, these are all things that I can choose instead of, I'm not good enough. And it's really easy to make this choice. And if you do this every single day, it's going to compound over time, and it's going to get better. Sometimes you might run into one that's, like, really, really hard and you're struggling to get past it. If I ever run into those, I usually will, like, reach out to a friend or like somebody else who I knows this process that I do. And they can kind of be an outside person to look at things. And like, there's other ways to go deeper into this. But, like, it really does help to just change these things every single day. And it's the little bit, like, you're chipping away at it and chipping it away at all these negative things that are within you. And as you just keep letting it go, you become so much happier, so much, you're able to stand in your power in so many more ways. Like, it just is so, it's wonderful. I love it.
So that's cool. I've got a slightly different way of doing it as well, that might be helpful to our replay listeners and the couple of extra people are on here. So one of the things that I do is, I mentioned having a vision, right? And obviously the vision that's most important to you right now is your 1-year vision. Like, this is what I am really stepping into and who I'm wanting to be, right? And so I look at, okay, what beliefs does this Kushla have? At the end of this year, what beliefs, like, does she already have? Because those are the beliefs that I need to adapt. And I don't believe in waiting to adapt beliefs. So if you've got a clear vision of what you desire, and I think desire is really, really hugely important, then just adapt them now. So I remember one day I just woke up and was like, tired of struggling over things, tired of my inconsistency. I'm like, stuff it. I'm just gonna wake up with new beliefs. And so I did. I just chose my beliefs and I woke up with them, and I operated as if I was already there. I operated just like, okay, this is, I mean, and here's the thing, like,
so it's like, what would this what choices would this Kushla make? What would
she think? What does she think on a daily basis? How does she feel on a daily basis? What is not choices, because choices come from our beliefs, right? So what does she what does she believe?
What does she feel? What does she feel? What does she believe?
Yeah. And so I just chose those. And one of the things that I do with my clients, and at least from the marketing perspective as well, is I have them look at, okay, so what is it that you want? And we break down, we do reverse engineering with our goals. And so we have 3 months and then monthly goals. And all of those should always be consistent with your vision. But let's just say, you have a look, okay, my goal is this month to make like 15,950 in sales, which means enrolling like 3 clients into this program, 2 clients into this program. One of them, like, so I've got the specific process of doing that. And I'm like, and then I also have been noticing that my home's been a bit more disorganized, and that there's a bit more arguing happening here. And I'm like, okay, so you've got your three focus points. How do you want to feel? Let's have a look at what your beliefs are around those. So I'll use what's very current and showing for you now, in relation to what is it that you really desire. So what's your goal? Right. And then I'll be like, okay, you've said that your goal is to have 3 new clients enrolled in this. Like, what have you been doing in order to accomplish that? And they're like, well, I haven't really. And I'm like, okay, so why not? Okay, so what is it? So we'll do what I find when we really, from the space of investigation of what are we doing, how are we using our time, how is that in or out of alignment with what your vision is for who you really want to be. It really highlights in a very powerful way, because it's very meaningful, because it's directed to how you want to be now, like how you want your life to look now, how you want to be taking action every day. So for example, I'm just trying to think of some of the beliefs that my clients had this week, but there's been some things. And one that
I can think of is like it's like you can't like run a business successfully and be a good mom. And like that's one I think comes up probably quite a bit, because you work with moms a lot. And moms do struggle with that. We worry. It's like, if I give any of my energy over here, I'm not going to have enough left over here. And so when that happens, it then ends up showing up for us. It's like, we're trying to do this, but our kids are being crazy because our beliefs are showing up for us in that I cannot be a good mom and do this at the same time. And so of course my children are going to be crazy. Yeah.
Well, I actually have one, which is pretty much like that. So yesterday or the day before, one of my clients, like, we did some work, and she's like, well, I get my belief, I guess, and she started to, feel a bit teary, is that nothing will get done if I don't do it.
Right.
My kids are crazy the minute I sit at the desk, right? And so I was actually coaching her around how to set up systems around doing her laundry.
Awesome.
Yeah, which sounds crazy for a business coach to be teaching, but like everything is related, and I'm
Absolutely.
like, and so sometimes, we want to adapt a new belief. So I gave you some specific things to lean into, but also you want to be like, what are some support systems? So we can talk about beliefs. Okay, what are some support systems that are going to help us to really step into that belief?
Sorry, my daughter just watched
that. So, like, what are some support systems? I'm like, okay, so you can get your kids and your husband, like, have this conversation like this, let them know why this is important, how long this is going to last for. And, it is better to put some energy into that this week and getting that become something. Otherwise, the laundry is always going to distract you. Like, it's always, and I know.
Because laundry never ends.
Yeah, and I keep playing laundry for the demise of my business. Company.
You can go join a nudist colony, but that's the only way that laundry is going to end.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, absolutely, that is a great example, is how we feel around our family. And what I like to do is okay, what's a stretch point in your belief? Because obviously if the belief's still the same as the others, it's like going to be no growth, there's going to be no change, you're still going to be out of alignment with yourself. So what's your stretch point? But also what feels real enough that you can ground into it. So for example, like, me, I can create sales. Like, I think the last 6 weeks was 52Ks in sales, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it wasn't hard work for me. It was fairly simple to do. But, there was a time where I would have gone like, holy crap, like just to make 5K in that period of time would have been like, woo, like, crazy. But now that just felt fairly ordinary to have done that, right? And so, so was a client who's come on and they're like not even making 2K. So that there's this thing that can happen, right, where we can almost adapt someone else's vision, and we're like, oh, they can do it. We're like, we get so hyper excited. And we're like this, but we're up in the air and we're not grounded, so our feet can't take action. What I like to do is I'm like, okay, so what feels real for you? What is a belief that you can adapt that's actually going to allow you to move towards that, but you feel like your feet are still on the ground enough that you can take action. So, for example, it might be, okay, one of the processes that we use.
Ireland, honey. Sorry.
I love that. So one of the processes that we use to enroll clients is to have discovery calls, right? That's the bread and butter of the coaching, training, or mentoring business. Usually is to have discovery sessions. And so I would say, well, what can you do in order to get yourself towards this bigger goal? It would be like, well, they might be nervous because they've never had discovery sessions before. So to say that they can have 10 discovery sessions in a fortnight or in a month might feel ludicrous, but they might be good at talking with people. So like, you know, so it could be like, a belief could be, I am having more and more conversations which allow me to attract the right people for me to have discovery sessions with, you know. And so you start where you are. You start with, oh, you know what? I'm really good, or I'm really capable of doing this thing here. And I know if I do more and more of that, that's going to lead to me doing this, right? And you can use that as an example of your body and food or movement and exercise and all that stuff, or with that can use the outcome to be a change in your relationships, right? So you might not feel like you can completely go from being an angry wife to having like this amazing loving relationship where you hold hands all the time, you have a crazy hot sex life and you know, and all, you know, but you can think, well, I can, you know, I've got this one thing which I can do really well in this relationship. I've got this one trait where I like, so you lean into that. So you lean into what your strengths, what you already know you can do, and you amplify that. Like I find that's a really great way to like to create these new beliefs that break free of an old limitation and allow you to just move forward and stretch.
No, it really
stretch.
does. It really does.
Yeah.
And stretching is so good. Like it feels really good when we stretch ourselves, because it means we're growing and we're human. Like we like to grow. That's what we're here to do. We're here to grow. And so it feels good when we do. Yeah.
And I'll say even physically stretching, you know.
Oh yeah.
It does amazing things for our minds. I mean, like last night, you know that I've torn 3 tendons and like my shoulder and stuff, right? And so there was a stage a year ago where I could like my arms were like that. So now it's like almost there, and I can it's getting there back there. But I was laying in bed last night stretching, and I found that, you know, because the body's mirror parts, right? So since my shoulders have become less flexible, my hips and my groin have also become less flexible. So I was sitting there in bed doing these stretchy, groiny exercises, and I was like, oh, that was hurting so much.
I love that you call them stretching granny exercises.
Groiny. I mean groiny.
Groiny.
But granny's funny. Granny's funny.
I thought you said granny.
No, I intend to be a very flexible and supple granny. So, you know.
Yes.
Anyway, so I was sitting there doing these exercises, and all I could think about was how it's emotionally, well, not so much emotionally, but mentally, it's going to really open me up even more and help me to be even stronger in personality. So I was like, it's not about the flexibility, like, that's really cool as well, but it's like the mental aptitude that I was developing through stretching my body. You know?
That's awesome. So, I love that.
Yeah.
Like our brains are just so powerful. And what we believe is truth. And so, like, you know, just the fact that you believe that stretching is going to help your mental stretching, will help it, even though it already is true. Like, movement helps our brains to get connected and working better. So that's why we dance at the beginning of these, because it gets our bodies moving, it gets our brains moving and firing more quickly. Now, And that's the whole basis of everything that we're doing here.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the more that we believe that what we're doing is beneficial, the more beneficial it is.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So anyway, we're about out of time here. It's 2
Yeah,
here. It's like what, 8 there, or
yep.
is it 8?
8.
Yeah.
7:59. Yeah.
Yeah. So
17 seconds.
So we're you have the I don't have the seconds on my computer.
Yeah.
But so we're about out of time. Do you have any last thoughts that you want to say? I mean, we've talked about a lot here.
We have. I guess I'd wrap up by just saying, wherever you are in your life, if you're happy with it, I think celebrate and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Always celebrate whatever is amazing in your life. And I think not even what's amazing, just celebrate life, full stop. Celebrate that you have electricity. Celebrate, I love that I have flushing toilets. After traveling to Greece.
I am thankful for those.
Yeah. After traveling to Greece 2 years ago, I'm so grateful that I can flush the toilet paper, because you've got to put it in the bin beside the toilet in most parts of Greece. Yeah. I didn't know that until I got to Greece, and I was like, oh my goodness.
Why?
Their plumbing, old countries,
really old,
infrastructure and stuff, right? And they can't dig a lot of it up because of the historical monuments and stuff like that. So they've just got to
dig it. Wow.
No, they can't dig a lot of it up because of too many historical, So they've got to kind of cope with the infrastructure that's there, which. So anyway, in a lot of places, you've got to just wipe and then put the toilet paper in the toilet next to you. And I'm like, holy guacamole, I can't wait to get back to where I can just flush the toilet.
It's so nice to be able to just flush the toilet.
So
wow.
I
didn't know I should be grateful for that, but I am now.
Yeah, exactly. That was like, wow. So there are always amazing things to be grateful for. One of my practices, wake up, look around the room, find 3 things to be grateful for. So quite often it's a light switch. Quite often it's like the ducted air conditioning. I'm like, I love you, hole in the ceiling, for providing that cold air and this hot Australian weather, And I truly mean it. And so it truly lights me up to be grateful for the small things. So wherever you are, celebrate what's working. You might need to investigate a little bit when the crapiola is hitting the fan, is just to see. But I promise you, there's tons and tons of small things that you can be grateful for. And I think our very breath is something to be grateful for. The fact that you're still here on this earth with an opportunity to have an impact, and you can have an impact. You can not just improve the quality of your own life, but you can make a difference for other people's lives as well. And that's truly what you're here to do, is to be your best you and to help other people to rise as you do so. I think that's a mission that we've all been given in some way, shape or form. It can be expressed differently. For some of us, it's going to solely expressed through the way we raise our family. For some of us, it's going to be expressed through our businesses or our interests or our smile or the way that we are such dynamic beings. We're so multidimensional that you can't even count the number of ways that you can have a good influence on other people. And so all I ask is that you ask, how can I be my best me today? What can I do? What opportunities can open up to me today where I can be my best self? And that's not in that pressured kind of way where I suck if I'm not my best. Right? Like I said, because we're always getting out of integrity with it. Not always. That's not true.
It's not always.
We are often getting out of integrity with ourselves through the day. Otherwise, we would already be translated and in the heavens.
Yes, indeed.
So I'm assuming by virtue of you still being on the planet that in some way, shape or form, you've still got some lessons to learn, right? And some things to correct and bring back into. So just know that so many things are possible that you can't even perceive right now, or maybe you perceive them. Keep moving forward. But allow what's happening for you now to bubble up against you. Allow it to, like, look at it and ask, is this really true? Is this really real? And be okay.
Is it mine?
Yeah.
Is it mine is a really good question to ask too, because sometimes it's not even yours.
Yeah. Oh, very often.
If it's not yours, send it away. Like,
very
send it back.
Often. You know,
return it.
I'm empathic, and quite often I'll someone will say, oh, like if I get someone to do an energy reading, they'll be like, oh, well, this is showing up, and I'm like, is it mine? I don't think it's mine, you know, because I usually know what's mine. I can usually tell, I could have told you that one like before, you know. So anyway, just take it day by day. Be open, be inquisitive, be grateful, and have fun with your day as you try to become and live into being a more limitless being.
Yeah. So I want to leave it with, you know, like, I really like how you said allow things to just keep bubbling up. Like, do, like this little daily practice that I do every morning. You know, what's the limiting belief that's holding you back the most right now? Like, start incorporating that into your day. It takes I can seriously take all of 20 seconds if once you get quick at it. Like, it really can be a really, really quick thing that just will help you feel better. Yeah. You know, and you know, if you get stuck, it's totally okay to get stuck. I get stuck sometimes. Yeah. You know, if you get stuck, contact me on Facebook. Yeah. You know, or you can contact here. Look, I'll go ahead. There's my Facebook right there, so you can. That's that's my my business page. You can contact me through there, or if you want to actually schedule an appointment with me, you can do that too. You'll be proud of me, Kushla. I actually have a Calendly account now. I'll go ahead and put my Calendly in. That says Candly. I have a baby crying. Calendly.com it's calendly.com/higher living is my stuff. If you guys need help or want help, please contact me, ask for help. Don't try and do it all by yourself. We're not meant to heal ourselves. We are much better at healing other people. Most of the time we need help to heal ourselves, and that's okay. You know, the little things that we do every day, they help us to stay on track. But if you need some big deep healing, you're going to need more help than just what you can do for yourself. And that's why we're here. Absolutely. That's why we're not by ourselves on an island all alone as human beings. That's why we have families. That's why we have friends. That's why we have a world full of people to show us our crap and then to help us through our crap. We're here to help each other. So if you want to get on a clarity call with Kushla, you can. It looks like you've got Facebook/calendly.com/. I don't think that's right, honey. I don't think that link's going to lead you anywhere, everybody.
Thank you for that.
No problem. You got all excited and mushed them all together.
I was looking at your Facebook, I think, and then I was like, so that's what you call typing by default, because I was more focused on listening to Maleah than I was trying to type it before we finish up.
Oh no.
But you can come on a clarity call with me if you're a holistic female entrepreneur. In other words, you just create big changes for other people, or you really desire to, you know that you can jump on a call with me, and I'll just type the correct one there.
Woohoo!
And we'll talk about how you can improve your business. So if you use, I'll give you the code word to use. So I have different code words for different types of conversations. So if you just use Blab, I think that would be cool. So I know, right? And what we'll do is we'll have a look and do an assessment on your business and your life as well, and see what it is your next big step needs to be. And there's no, it's not like a call where I say you've got to work with me kind of situation, because working with me is by invite only anyway. And so I need to see that the people who come to me are really, really going to take action. So I would love to help you. Otherwise, you can come to my Facebook group, which is Loved Up Business.
It's a fun group.
And come join in there. And you can ask any questions, and I'd be happy to answer them. I don't really care. Sometimes people say, don't give away too much or only give away this amount or whatever. I'm like, I will actually tell people exactly what to do.
She really does. She really does. I love her. Like she's fantastic.
Yeah.
She loves to help.
Yeah. So my thing is, I'm like free or full price. People give me I give tons of information away for free, because I know also that your best clients, they pay you to help implement, not for the information. All the information as well, but like the implementation, like Maleah said, we all need a hand sometimes. We all need help. We can't heal our own stuff. So I'm here to help you heal your business. So yeah.
And she's good at it.
I sure am.
She's like, I will receive that. Thank you very much.
Of course, yes.
Oh, man. Anyway, Kushla, it's lovely seeing you every week. I love you. I wish that we could see each other in real life from.
Well, I'll be in Salt Lake in September for my event. Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah. It's gonna be funny because it's like you see people here, but then when you see them in person, you're like, they're so much taller, or they're so much shorter, or like.
True, very true. I have no idea how tall you are. You're a nice, like, big person in my mind, but you could be like 5 foot. Oh, I have no idea.
I'm 5 foot 6 inches.
Okay, so you're like my mom's height.
Yeah,
I'm just a little taller. I'm 5, like 8.5.
Yeah, so you'll be like, taller. Oh, hi,
Maleah. I'm not that much taller. I'm not like 6 foot.
Yeah.
Oh no, I do have. For the first time you saw my hair, you were like shocked by how long it is. I have hair for days.
Yeah. That's a good one. Rapunzel.
Yes.
Right.
Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I will see you next week.
Yes.
Bye, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
You gonna stop the recording?